Hey Brian, how you doing? It looks like you had a chance to go ahead and submit the actual magazine ad, so let's go ahead and take a look. Now I did notice something here. You've got a resubmission here of a rough draft version 2 as a Photoshop document. And I did open that document up and I realized that you have compiled the ad in Photoshop, or are at least presenting the ad in Photoshop. Don't forget, this ad is required to be compiled using Illustrator, not Photoshop. So, of course, there's no way to tell with a PDF or a JPEG. So I just want you to be specifically clear that the final submission for this assignment is, it's required to be compiled in Adobe Illustrator, and that's pretty important. It's one of the learning outcomes of the class is page composition using Illustrator. Okay, so I'll go ahead and make comments, but please keep that in mind as we move forward. So I've got the ad up here. Let's go ahead and get that fit in the screen. Now I'm going to zoom in and I want you to take a look at what you see here. Okay, take a look at the now take a look at the background image specifically, and you can see it's extremely damaged. I don't recommend using this image at all. It's really damaged, and it's you can tell without even zooming in that it's very muddy, very poor quality, pixelated, and there's a high degree of evidence of compression artifact. If you're not specifically clear on those terms, just jump right over to the announcement area and find the announcement with the images. This one right here, and it's under this announcement week 2 checking in. Can I change a 72 ppi image to 300? And it says pixelation and compression artifact. Under here, under this headline, pixelization and compression artifact, not good. Go ahead and take a look at those and read about what you are looking to try to avoid, and then apply that to your submission. And we can see that there's clearly indications of poor quality image in the background. So I think first and foremost, let's go ahead and replace that image. At that point in this specific ad, my recommendation is to do this. I like this typographic composition right here. I think that works out very well. I'm not so sure about the placement though. It's placed right over the image, and that's a pretty important part of the image. So I would try not to obstruct that. My recommendation, excuse me, would be to do this. Love lives here, and then don't forget that's Arial bold italic. That's a headline. I'm sorry, that's Arial bold. And right now it's set in what looks like Arial bold italic, but that's a headline that should be set in Arial bold. I would consider adding a subhead to kind of segue between Love lives here and the promotional offering. So we have headline Arial bold, subhead Arial bold italic. Then what I would do is I would take this and specifically regarding this ad, I would move it over away, left align it with your type here, or somehow configure it right here. Probably wouldn't left align since this is center aligned and the type is left align. So try to configure it in the most comfortable fashion right here. That's so it's not obstructing the background image, which seems to be the focal point of the ad. Now again, these comments may not hold true to your resubmission, which will use a different background image, so the page mechanics are going to change a little bit, but these are general recommendations. Finally, I think you have too much emphasis on the address area. I think that's kind of stealing away from hierarchy, stealing away from areas the eye should probably be concentrating more on, and that's the logo and this area right here. So my recommendation is to either reduce the file size. You don't want to use a stroke on here. On your type, and there's a announcement in the course announcements. There's a couple that you should look at, and the first one is, should I center align my text, and the second one is, should I stroke my text, and both give compelling reasons why you don't want to do either of those as a designer. In many specific cases, that's all described. So right here, I would recommend that you assemble this. Take a look, try to make a square format out of that, or a rectangle, and assemble the type right there. Whoops, watch my cursor. Something like that, with the logo anchored at the bottom of the end, like that. If you want some ideas on how to compile that type, you can just jump right over to the examples And you can see how other, right there, something like that. You can see how other designers have elected to present the contact information. But I'm looking at something like that. That's beautiful right there. That looks fantastic. So something like that would work out just beautifully. Okay, if you have any questions at all, Bryan, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. And please remember that the work is required to be submitted as a Adobe Illustrator file. Well, I should say for the final assignment, you'll have to show the magazine ad compiled in Adobe Illustrator. So we don't want to use Photoshop to compile the ad. Okay, great. Any questions at all, please let me know. Thanks, Bryan.